Hello and welcome. In this tutorial, I will explain how to use Mutex in C Sharp. You can use Mutex to synchronize access to a protected resource. One thread task can access a resource. So this is really useful when you are working on a multi-threading project or a project where you have a lot of tasks being created. And you should use this when you're trying to lock that other task or thread cannot use a resource while another task or thread is using that resource. And I will show you in this tutorial how to use that. So we have a class here and we have a for loop here that will iterate 10 times. In this for loop, we will create a task factory.start new, and this task should open a file. So let's go here. Let's go here and let's create a file. Test. So we should have file.read all text from this path and this file. And when I've read, let's output that to a console. So we do it here. When we have read the context, we will also append more text to the file. So we will do file.append. Oh, what happened? Oops. Append all text, and we will say the path should be this path here, so the same file, and we're just gonna append hello YouTube. So what will happen here is that we will iterate 10 times. We will create 10 different tasks, and these tasks will read the file and append text to the file. So in the end, we're going to do console.read key. So let's see what happens when we try to do this. See, we have an exception here. The process cannot access the file because it's being used by another process. And this is because one task is accessing the file, it's opening the file and appending content to the file. But meanwhile it is doing that, another task is being created in the loop here and is trying to read the file. But we are appending something to the file, and you cannot have multiple streams opening a file. So we have to find a way how can we create multiple tasks, but we should lock each task, so you can only have one task accessing a resource. And that is when you can use mutex equal to new mutex. So if we do like this, we create a mutex up here, and we go here and we say mutex dot wait one. And this will return a boolean. So this means that if the mutex lock is not being locked, it will return true and you can continue. So you can say if mutex wait one, if it returns true, let's do this. Let's do the code here. And we always have to end with a finally block. Finally. Oh, what did I do? Oh, my bad. If you do try, and finally here, like this. So if it returns true, always do this thing inside the try, and when we are done, always come here and say mutex.release mutex. So this means that if it returns true, we're gonna do this code, and when we are done, we're gonna unlock the lock. So the next task can do the try statement here. So when the next task comes here, it will check is a mutex locked? If yes, then we're gonna wait. We're gonna chill here until the thread that occupies the lock has come here and release the mutex. When it releases the mutex, the second task will lock the mutex and do this part of the code. And the third task will stay here and chill until the second task has done this part of the code. So let's see if this works now. And we can see that the output is here. Hello YouTube is appending content to the file. and the code hasn't crashed, which is exactly what it is supposed to do. So we can see how useful the mutex lock statement is. But as I mentioned, this part of the code, it will return true when the code is not being locked. To avoid deadlocks or something like that, we can also add like we can add milliseconds here. So after 4,000 milliseconds, which is 4 seconds, if this has not been unlocked, we're gonna return false. So we do if like this, mutex has not been released in 4 sec. So let's try the code and see what happens. We can see that the output is still working. We don't see this console write line, and that is because every time it opens the file, it takes less than 4 seconds to release the mutex. But if we come here and do thread.sleep, and we're gonna sleep for 5 seconds, we're gonna see that some of the threads will do this part of the code. So it's sleeping now, and we can see that the task comes to the else and say that the mutex has not been released. And that is because this part of the code waits 4 seconds. If it does not have a lock that is unlocked in 4 seconds, it will return false, and it will do this part of the code. And the reason why you have several same console logs here is because the mutex, this part of the code, can have 5 tasks waiting for something to be released. But it only waits 4 seconds for each task. So this part of the code takes more than 5 seconds to execute, and therefore you can have 4 or 5 tasks that does this part of the code. Alright, thank you for watching and see you at the next tutorial. Bye bye.